Welcome to Single Leg Parlay, the only podcast where the four of us give you picks. I'm Al. That's
It's very specific.
Danny. That's Matt. This is Andy. This is the NFL Week 7 read. Oh, okay. So last week, again, this is what, third bad week in a row. It was a little bit better this week, but still not great. I think overall we were 6-13. I think we get better by one pick each week. But let's get into our typical rundown here. We'll go over our most impressive teams, most suspect Kaiser Soze's, what we were wrong about, and give out some awards. So let's start with the most impressive team of the week. Danny, who is your most impressive team this week?
I'm going with the Commanders. Jaden Daniels went down with an injury, and Marcus Mariota walked right in and looked like he was playing at Oregon again. So I think that team is good. It's not just Jaden Daniels carrying everything. If a journeyman Mariota can come in and play that well, so I thought that was the most impressive. I mean, they really dominated that game. So
yeah, is it that they're really good, or are the Panthers just that fucking bad? I'm happy for Mariota, happy for Daniels, happy for the whole organization, and I'm most happy that Snyder is not getting to enjoy the success because I think that's delicious. But I think the Panthers are just fucking awful. But
it's
maybe I'm
entirely
wrong.
possible, and my picks will reflect your thoughts.
Yeah, I think I'm fully in on the Commanders being good with Jaden Daniels. I think with Mariota, I think that was probably more the Panthers just being super bad. Especially when there's a quarterback change mid-game, that quarterback that comes in doesn't have to be as good as they do when a team has a week to prep for that guy. Like when you're in the moment, it's hard to adjust to a new quarterback, I think, or harder for a defense to adjust.
I mean, Mariota did look really good, though, especially with his arm, and he was probably just hitting like first reads and stuff. I mean, I didn't break down the tape. I'm not, Jaws over here.
That's gotta be the team with like the least amount of pressure on them, right?
The Commanders.
I mean, I think it's starting to build. But
I just feel like it's like with Dan Quinn year one, they're already better than expectations had, were set at. So it's like, it's all kind of like gravy, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're probably enjoying the ride.
Did you have Dan Quinn as a good football coach on your bingo card?
I mean, I think he was a bad coach, but I think that Atlanta situation is just kind of dysfunctional. Not that, which is surprising to say that he's now in Washington, and like to call that a franchise that isn't dysfunctional, I don't think is fully fair either. So yeah, maybe he's not that good, and he just has good players. Jaden Daniels is doing the heavy lifting.
I mean, the Cowboys' defense wasn't like amazing the last few years. They were good, but like they have what's the defensive end's name that nobody can block?
Micah Parsons.
Yeah, they got Micah Parsons, so I think a lot of coaches could have had a pretty decent defense there. And then they got super lucky with Diggs' brother, Diggs, catching a bunch of interceptions when he wasn't that good of a quarterback. No, I like to call him Diggs' brother, Diggs.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what we call your brother. So
they're actually not brothers. That's racist. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
Andy, did you have something you wanted to chime in with?
Well, I mean, you guys were just talking about how good Mariota was, and it's almost unfair because he's got, in the prime of his career, Zach Ertz out there catching balls for him. That's like a cheat code.
This was a great 2005 team.
The prime
I didn't know Zach Ertz was still alive, let alone still playing football.
He's still married to Julie Ertz, isn't he?
Julie. Yeah.
I would have thought he would retire before she did. That is for sure.
Oh, for sure.
He's definitely less successful than Julie Ertz, right?
Yeah. I mean,
depends on how you measure success.
Yeah, he measured in terms of dollars.
He's made way more money for sure.
Well, I'm sorry. She's better at her sport than he is at his sport. Correct?
Yeah.
There was a time where he was probably the number one.
in the world.
He was never the number one tight end.
Best...
Gronk existed.
No,
he was their best at best. Gronk was there. Jimmy Graham was there for most of his career. So he was.
Ertz was really good for a short time. For like 1 or 2 seasons, he was like top 3 or better.
Maybe Jimmy Graham's fall-off years, he was number 2, but he was never above.
Andy, who impressed you this week?
I'm going to go with the Steelers. We knew they had a defense. We knew they could stop other people from scoring. But Tomlin surprises everybody, benches I just went totally blank. Yeah, Justin Fields, and brings in Mr. Unlimited. And turns out he can still play a little bit. They put up 37 points. If they're going to put up 37 points and have that defense, like they can.
That's a scary team. If that's the case. Do you think Denver fans are like big mad?
For sure.
Right now?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
like if I was a Broncos fan, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, me too. If Russell Wilson can like regain his form from the first 7-8 years of his career for just another season, that team could go for it. They could win.
Yeah.
They got good receivers too.
Did you see what Tomlin said in the press conference when they asked him about it? He said, "That's why they pay me so much." Baller. It's a baller move.
Dude's never had a losing season. I love Mike Tomlin too. They were talking about how he's like not a good coach anymore. The game's passed him by. That's not true at all.
Yeah, that sounds like someone who just hates the Steelers being good every year.
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like. Oh man. I saw that game was like 17-15 or something at halftime, and I thought the scoring was going to be done. I didn't even watch the second half, and then I looked at it, and they scored like 3 touchdowns in the second half or whatever it was. So yeah, props. I hope that was a fluke and that the Jets just gave up, but I don't know. Maybe the Steelers are really, really good.
That's hilarious too. Who was it that beat the Jets twice in a row? Or no, lost to the Steelers twice in a row.
Devontae
Adams lost to the Steelers 2 weeks in a row. It's hilarious.
That's great.
Once with the Raiders and once with the Jets. Yeah.
Yep.
Matt, what was most impressive to you this past week?
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers defense. Their defense. So Houston, who has a high-powered offense or a good enough offense that you would expect them to be able to score and run their offense well. They kept CJ Stroud to 55 yards passing. 55 yards passing. That's terrible. They kept him to 197 total yards. A high-powered offense getting stuck at 197 yards and only 55 yards passing. Now, I know there are a couple of receivers were hurt, but Tim Boyle can get you 55 yards passing in a game. That's shameful, and I was impressed by the numbers when I read them. I was like,
lot of tight end dump offs for Boyle to get you that 70 yards though.
It's gonna take 30 completions to get 55 yards, but he'll get you there.
Oh, I'm so sorry you guys have to deal with Tim Boyle. That's the worst.
Not anymore.
Yeah, well,
for half a game, right? At least.
Yeah.
For at least a part of the drive.
At least one play. Minimum one play.
You see his interview where they were like, "Are you going to wear the Guardian helmet?" And he was like, "No." And they're like, "Well, why not?" And he goes, "Personal choice." Just like
every part of that press conference felt like he should not have been having one.
That line was terrible, but that wasn't the worst line. The worst line was, "I love football. I love it to death." Like.
Okay, well,
no, it was worse than that. I was like, I'll love it till it kills me. I love it till it kills me, or something like that.
It's going to.
If you're reading a novel, you would call that foreshadowing. Sadly, like you'd be like, is that foreshadowing for later?
That is like 5 shadowing. That's like a lot. That's happening.
If I was one of his teammates, I'd get all the guys together and I'd be like, guys, we are all wearing the fucking Guardian thing. Because if we all do it, then maybe Tua will fucking do it too, and he won't die on the field on us.
Look,
AJ's already wearing it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not great looking. It's very whack. I understand where it doesn't feel cool, but you know what feels cool? Getting sustained long-term money in your bank account and keeping your brain while you do
memory,
it. Right?
lack of depression.
Yeah, all those
not
things.
Hitting
like,
and abusing your loved ones.
Being able to count past 10 with your shoes on. I mean, come on.
super cool.
Being able to know who you are and where you are.
Yeah.
Those are all the coolest things I know.
Yeah, those
Better
are
than not knowing and pooping yourself when you're in public because you can't control anything anymore. That's uncool, regardless of the dollars in your bank account.
Super lame. That's only something losers.
The lamest.
So for me, the most impressive things in this past week, I got to give a shout out to the Jags. The bright spots seem few and far between. All of my Jags friends are on a total roller coaster ride this season. They've been certain the team's going to go undefeated, to certain the team isn't going to win another game, to we're back in driver's seat for the division, to we're out of the playoffs, to we got a shot. So that's been the what, 6 games they've played so far.
It's a hell of a roller coaster for a 2-5 season. I don't think they've had that many ups.
Yeah, correct. They did hang 32 on the Patriots, which is good. So we know they're not the worst team in the league. So they got that going for them, which is nice.
Yeah. What did we get on the Patriots?
13, I think. And I think we got a dub.
It was a 13-10.
We did get the dub.
It's 13-10.
Oof.
That team stinks. Stinky.
So yeah, that's the good things we saw this past week. What are some of the suspect teams that we reviewed this past week? I'm going to start with Matt. Matt, who gets your Kaiser Soze this week?
Yeah, it's Tim Boyle. Look, usually we say suspect of something that is good or looks weird or something that looks off. Tim Boyle has always been bad. So my question to you is, why is he an NFL starting quarterback? Do you know that he has never won a game that he started in the NFL? Never. Not once. Not once. He can't be I don't understand what capacity that makes you think like Tim Boyle is a good third string quarterback. I'd rather have anybody else. Did he
win any games he started at UConn?
I'll grab some of those stats in a second while we go to other bullet points, but he's awful. I think he has to have dirt on Goodell. I think that's what it comes down to, where someone has to roster his ass because he's useless. And look, he seems like a great guy. I want that on the front end. Like, he is useless in the capacity that his job is a quarterback. Could he be a good enterprise rent-a-car business person? Maybe. I don't know. Could he work at Netflix in the content department? Sure. I don't know. But he is very useless when it comes to being an NFL quarterback. And I don't understand how he keeps getting on a roster. Something's wrong. There's something suspect here.
He can hold a clipboard like the best of them.
He's got a great ponytail.
He was supposed to be our 4th string quarterback or something. And I mean, there's 20 or 22 quarterbacks hurt right now or something.
I get it. You're digging in the bargain bin, but you shouldn't come up Boyle. I will give me a Simeon.
So you don't think Boyle's the 160th best quarterback in the world?
No. Give me a Davis Mills. Davis Mills has to be doing something. I don't know where he is. Where is Davis Mills? Let's check on him.
Ryan Tannehill's right down the road, and they won't sign him.
That's what I'm saying. Give him a few weeks. Look, even if that goes spectacularly wrong, I can justify the logic behind giving Tannehill a run. I don't understand where anyone's like, yeah, Tim Boyle, that's it. That's who we need. No,
I guess
not an investment.
I don't know. Danny, do you want to mention your Kaiser Soze, or we just kind of did also?
No, you can go ahead.
Mine is just
hating Boyle.
This team is very, very not good. They've got too much money invested in players who aren't playing, too much cap space being taken up by guys that are hurt. It's just, our 2 defensive ends are basically not out there. Our quarterback's not out there. Waddle goes off for like half the game every game because he gets a fingernail hurt or something. It's just bad. It's so bad. This team was not built well. We're extending guys that are beyond their years. I hate it. I hate the Dolphins right now. They're just so much hope last year, and it's all over.
Can I sell you a talented left left-handed quarterback with brain damage? Will that turn that frown upside down?
I mean, I'm happy he's back. I'm happy he's back.
It depends. Do we have to pay him $500 million? Is there a brain damage discount?
Speaking of QB injuries and $500 million, we should maybe spend like 3 seconds talking about Deshaun Watson.
Who?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny that the Cleveland fans cheered when he got hurt and everyone was mad. Like Jameis Winston gave just an unbelievable quote. I'll have to pull it up in a second. But like, I kind of think that's okay considering who the person got hurt. Right?
Yeah,
like,
Jameis is trying to was going.
Buddy, that's Jameis Winston all the time. He literally wakes up and he does that for everything. Like, if he had to fire his pool guy, he would have like a very like a very hyped up speech about like how he's going to be great in other situations. That's just who he is.
Andy caught my butt crack out of that.
And I think it's important to know that in Tim Boyle's 24 games as a UConn Husky, he completed 48% of his passes, threw 1 touchdown and 13 picks.
Yeah, but how many times did he run out the back of the end
zone? That says NFL to me. That says NFL to me.
He has Eastern Kentucky stats that are better than that, but no. In his 3 seasons at UConn, his 24 games, 48%, 1 tutty.
1 touchdown, 13 interceptions?
To be fair, UConn was terrible, right? I think he may have died every play.
That's a QB only someone like Bill Belichick could love. Like he must have started his career as a Patriot.
Dirt on Goodell for sure.
Dolphins took a guy who ducks behind a bad offensive line and put him behind a bad offensive line. That was smart.
Classic Dolphins.
Andy, let's go. Let's be quick here. Who's the most suspect team for you?
The Saints are going to be incredibly suspect until they get some people healthy. Eyeliner's hurt. Kamara played but was limited. Their top 2 receivers are out. Like they're just all banged up and they're real bad until they start getting some of those guys back.
I don't know. I mean, they might get Carr back, but even if they get Carr back, I don't know that he has enough talent to throw to once he's healthy.
He really tricked us those first couple of games of the season where they put up like 70 points in 2 games or something. And then,
Yeah.
Well, Carr's
for me, good. I think this is worth a conversation. Do the 49ers suck? Like, are they bad?
McCaffrey's not playing, so it lends itself to that.
I mean, I keep being like, oh, they're going to turn it around, right? They're going to figure it out. They're 3-4. We're almost halfway through the season, and they have a losing record. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they are missing one of the best players in the game, like Danny said.
Well, when's he coming back? Until I see him on the field, that doesn't really do anything for me. You know what I mean?
It's like week 10. It's like week 10. And he was day to day, or he was week to week when I drafted him right before the season, and then they put him on IR the next day. Yeah. Very upset about that. Everybody loves hearing about fantasy football talk.
They've got a pretty, well, I guess it's fine. They can win some games. But, I mean, they still have some pretty stiff competition on the schedule. They play the Cowboys this week. They go to Tampa. They host the Seahawks. They go to Green Bay, to Buffalo. And then it gets a little bit easier after that. But
that's 5 losses if Carr's out all those games.
49ers.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
That might not be 5 losses for them.
It is if McCaffrey's out.
Anyway, it's just something obviously it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, right? Like, the 49ers are going to figure it out, and they're good. But I think they just lost Ayuk for the season, and Deebo Samuel's in the hospital with an illness. So it seems like they're going the wrong way on the injury front.
Yeah, and I don't want to, talk.
Go ahead,
Danny.
Oh, it's entirely possible that McDaniel came out and overused all Shanahan's tricks, and now they got nothing left. Like he just used all that motion, the same stupid Tyreek Hill in motion play to get him running, and then put him in, go over the middle.
Figured it out twice as fast.
Yeah, so everybody saw it. Like he may have done it a little more obviously and a little too often, and now Kyle Shanahan's got to come up with an entire new offense. They can still do the stretch runs, but
I think it's more on Brock Purdy. Like I don't want to talk shit about him like he took his team to the Super Bowl. Like he's fine, but he's not elevating people around him, right? Like when your three biggest weapons go out and you have to bring in guys nobody's heard of, Brock Purdy's not like elevating those guys to the next level.
Absolutely.
He needs the McCaffreys and the Debos to elevate him.
Correct. He's a game manager that can excel with talent around him, and without that talent, he can't go win you a game on his own.
I think you just described almost everybody, though. There's only like 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not a knock on him. I mean that's those types of quarterbacks don't grow on trees, you know. So
I mean, Josh Allen was looking pretty mediocre before they traded for a receiver.
Yeah,
mediocre for Josh Allen.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just think something I'm going to keep an eye on. I wonder how they're going to finish out the season. But since I'll probably be wrong on that, I'll kick off the next segment here on Boy Was I Wrong. And I wasn't that wrong on too many things this week, the 49ers being one of them. But I'm going to go with a different one here because I think it's fun. I give out the team total over 17.5. They finished with 16 points and a failed 2-point conversion, which that's kind of a bummer. They also had the ball in garbage time. I think they were down 2 or 3 scores with the ball under 2 minutes left at their own 30, and I believe they put themselves in a 4th and 28, and that failed to convert, obviously. But
should have kicked it.
Yeah. It's one of those rare circumstances where it feels like punting actually increases your win percentage. When there's a minute left, you might get them up. Andy, you put on here that you were wrong about nothing, but there's one thing you were wrong about. You didn't give us any picks last week, so that was pretty wrong of you.
The way I've been going, I think it was the nice thing for me to do. I needed a week off. I needed to reset. I need to Tua my my season, reset everything.
Need to hit IR for a short stretch.
Exactly.
That's fair. Danny, what were you wrong about?
Lots of things, pretty much everything. I got hooked a couple of times. It was not a good week for me, but the biggest one was the Saints. I just thought that, they would be able to play without Derek Carr, and they clearly can't. The one that was probably a little more egregious was the Jets Steelers under. That seemed like a clear lock to me because neither of those teams scored points, and then Russell Wilson came out and put up 38 or something, which got the overall by themselves.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think the Saints pick was worse. God, like the Saints. I'm with you. I think I almost picked the Saints last week too, and I took it off. And thank God I did, because that is not a team that's going to win any games in the way it's currently built. So it might be full fade Saints season. Who did they play this week, actually?
It was the Broncos, and the Broncos haven't been able to score at all. So I just assumed I was getting, I think, 2 or 3 points, and I just assumed that they had a shot to beat a bad Broncos team at home, and turned out, Sean Payton figured it out. They basically, is it Jamal Williams 100 times, and he had lots of touchdowns. So
yeah, so the Saints are actually going out west to LA to play the Chargers this week, and none of us have a play in that game currently. So I imagine they're getting more than a touchdown going out there. But
that feels like a nice team total under. Honestly, the Chargers defense is good, and sorry, I know this is the wrong podcast for it.
No, that's
Chargers
good.
defense is good, and Saints offense is boo.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to score touchdowns.
So
touchdown singular.
Yeah,
the Chargers are laying 7.5 with a total of 40.5.
So 13 to 16 to 23, something like that.
Yeah.
15 to 25.
Okay. Matt, what were you wrong about this past week?
Yeah, I was with Dano. The Saints and Broncos under, that should have hit, considering the offensive firepower. And that's like, I want to put mega fake quotes on that. The offensive firepower that's in that game. I also had the Dolphins. I don't feel like I was that wrong on that game. The Colts are bad. Like, you can have Anthony Richardson start as many games as you want. They are going to win in dumb fashions. And if it wasn't for Tim Boyle, I feel like I was going to get that bet across the line. So I don't even feel bad about it. I was wrong, but Tim Boyle's wrong. Tim Boyle's the most wrong.
Yeah. Wholehearted endorsement there. Let's keep it with you, Matt. Let's give out your award. Who gets your award this week?
Yeah, it's Derrick Henry, the king. The king is back. And I honestly don't know if he even left. Look, he's been spectacular this season. What Baltimore did not need is a really good running threat for how good they are. But, hey, they decided to get it, and he's been awesome. In last week's game, let me pull up his stats really quick. He rushed for 15 carries and 169 yards. That's more than 11 yards a carry. Here's a fun fact. He is the same age as Todd Gurley. How did Todd Gurley do this week? I don't know, because he doesn't play in the NFL.
I bet he did damn well.
He seems awesome. He seems like an awesome human being. I'm not saying that, but how did Le'Veon Bell do this week? How is he still so fucking good at 30 years old? And in Alabama, where Nick Saban literally just like mashed him into a wall 400 times a season.
I think because he's built like a T2000.
Is he Terminator? It'd make me feel better if he was from Skynet, honestly, because I don't understand this human being being this good.
He's a cybernetic organism.
Yeah. He's fucking awesome. And he also had one catch for 13 yards. I know that's not his game, but the boy got 182 yards.
Too.
It was for a tutty. It was for a tutty. 182 yards of offense from the king has not left his place. Kudos to Derrick Henry.
Who's the more impressive ageless wonder, King Henry or King James?
Well, LeBron has 4 rings. How many rings did King Henry have?
I don't know. He's probably got 0.
King James also had a Bible named after him. I mean, King Henry did lead in wives.
He did. Right? You got some bitches.
That's a big
King
title.
Henry, you got some bitches.
Oh, I guess he technically had 6 rings. Shit, he beat King James.
That's great. I love that I could just throw a total curveball at Matt, and it's like full on at bat. Like, he'll foul off the first one, and then it comes in. It's just.
It took me a minute to get there.
Yeah, you got there all on your own too.
I was looking for a wife joke with King Henry, and I couldn't come up with it. You beat me to it, man. That was good.
Thank you. But Derrick Henry's awesome. He's the king.
Oh, Andy, who gets your award this week?
Yeah, I'm going to give out the back in the New York Groove award, and it is going to Saquon Barkley. He returned home to the Meadowlands, which is technically New Jersey, I guess, but I didn't want to go with the boss. And he just absolutely destroyed the Giants single-handedly. He had a chance to break his own career high, and he was like, nah, I'm good. Let the young guys eat. I think that was his exact quote. And, the Giants have got to be just kicking themselves for letting him walk. They could really use him right now.
The Giants should have taken that money from Daniel Jones.
2 years from throwing a touchdown pass. It's been a really, really long time.
Oh. The Giants or the Eagles coaching staff has got to be the most petty staff, or among the most petty staffs in the league. Because I saw that clip where the coach was like, hey, I'm happy to get you back in there if you want to hit this record against your old team. It's like, he's like, no, I'm good. But it's like, are you sure? Are you sure? This could be front page news tomorrow. Come on. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna give out my award. It's the We Bring the Boom Award. I don't know if you guys are familiar with AJ and Big Justice, but I was made aware of them this past week. The Rizzler, as I think one of them is called.
They're the Costco boys, right?
Yeah, the Costco guys.
Yeah.
That was Jake Bates, the Lions kicker, hit that celebration where you do a little we represent lollipop league leg kick while you're flexing. I hate it. I hate that I know this now, but pretty sick Sully on a game-winning field goal. So hat off to Jake Bates, wide kicker, for that one.
I love the game management at the end of that game where Dan Campbell didn't take the timeout early on third down. He let the clock run. No, on second down. Then third down, he ran the ball straight ahead. So there was like 15 seconds left instead of 40 seconds left. The little minutia he did in that game in order to make it where the field goal was a guarantee to walk it off. And he had to bet on his kicker, right? He had to bet. He was betting everything on the kicker to do something. Yeah. Was kind of cool. I don't know if you saw that, Al, but the game management aspect, Dan Campbell may just be a good coach. Actually, like, I kind of thought he was a meathead idiot when he got there, but he may actually like get the game, like the numbers part of the game, because that was cool. I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, I think there's sometimes in the heat of the moment he kind of makes mistakes here and there, but generally the main coaching knocks on him are that he's too aggressive or he's aggressive in situations he shouldn't be, which I actually love. I love that so much. I wish every coach was as aggressive as Dan Campbell is. Because he said this week, he said, if the look is there, the look is there. We're running it. You know what I mean? It's like he trusts his guys to execute, and sometimes they don't. But most of the time they execute. And I think that's the main difference. Our guy, you're not asking too much of your guys and running this just for shits and giggles. You're running it because the situation is such that will allow you to convert it. So, like they did a fake punt like early in that game that got stopped in their own end and looked kind of silly, and it was basically an execution thing. But yeah, I endorse it. I love it.
I love trust the process, fuck the results kind of mindset, right? Because that's what I mean. We're gamble, right? There's a method to the madness, and you can't bet. Like even the best sharps go 60%. Right? You can have all the numbers right. It depends on the play on the field. And if he keeps trusting the process, the numbers always back it out. Yeah, you're going to lose sometimes, but I can live and die that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, I guess that kind of wraps it up, right? I think we lost Danny. He had a James Winston award that he was going to give out to Baker. So I don't know if anyone wants to win that one, or we'll just wrap it.
I don't really know how to do what he was going to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I do want to talk about Jameis in our next podcast for sure.
Okay. Well, we'll wrap this here then. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Single Leg Parlay. Go to singlelegparlay.com. You can subscribe to our posts there. We'll send our posts, our plays to your inbox. You check out our picks. Follow the ones you like. We highlight the ones that multiple guys are on, so it's a little bit easier than tailing 40 picks or whatever it is each week. But you're welcome to do that too if you want. If you can, if you're listening to this, you're probably already subscribed to the podcast. But if you're not, rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a loved one, send us a kiss, tell us you love us. We love positive feedback. Thanks for listening. Chuggy Single Leg Parlay Boys out.
Good night, Kent. Thanks for listening to the newly rebranded Single Leg Parlay podcast. Visit our website at www.singlelegparlay.com, where you can read more of our thoughts, as well as subscribing to our newsletter to have our picks delivered straight to your inbox each week. And don't forget to follow Single Leg Parlay on all of your favorite social media platforms. Cheers!